Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening, Ms. Bogan.
Okay, as you guys know, this is our last and final session. It's been a pleasure, being a
Thanks.
part of the group with you guys.
The feeling is mutual.
Now, I know during our last session, we spoke about goals and effective communication, where we distinguished between ineffective and effective communication, and you guys were to implement effective communication. Would anyone like to share their experience last week?
I would. This week, me and my friend had a disagreement, and I feel like I effectively communicated with her how I felt that something that she said had offended me, and I feel like now we have a stronger friendship because we came to an understanding that what she said or how it offended me and how we were able to discuss it and make it into a positive situation.
Okay, that's great. Okay, and this is our last session, so I also bought treats for us in celebration.
Candy?
Yes, candy in celebration.
Have one?
You definitely can. Feel free.
Thank you.
Now, this particular session, what we're going to do is, the goal is to learn how to apply appropriate communication. Okay, first, if I can have everyone turn to my laptop here
Okay.
and look at this picture. I have a question for you guys. Is this a form of communication?
Sure.
Yes.
I say yes. Yeah.
I think so.
Yes.
I feel like it's a form of communication because even though there's no actual speaking or anything that you can hear, like tone of voice, or there's expressions like facial expressions, and there's there are words that show an opinion, and I feel like it's clearly stated.
Yeah, when I look at it, it's showing to me that, we have a picture, you have words, and, the words clearly illustrate what the picture is trying to say. So, yeah, it's a form of communication.
Yeah, showing the viewers that he hates sandcastles, and it also kind of depicts it with the sand in his hand, with the fist balled up as if he did something to the sandcastle.
And
And so,
his facial expression says that he doesn't like things.
Wow, that's excellent. And it seems as if we're all in agreement. Yes, that's a form of communication. So communication isn't, as we talked about before, only listening and speaking and interpretation. It also has to do with body language, facial expressions. Very good. Okay, now I have a few questions on these cue cards, rather scenarios, and we will discuss the appropriate or effective way to communicate. First scenario. The teacher gives you an assignment, however, you don't understand it. How should you effectively communicate?
Go ahead.
Okay, well, if you don't understand the question, then you would raise your hand and ask the teacher, to explain it, and she would explain it to the point where you can understand and get it, the lesson question.
Actually, that's what I was going to say. So I'm thinking of a backup to that. Let's say, for example, if you're in a college setting and you're in a very large class, maybe you're unable to communicate with the teacher right away. So then you could perhaps email the teacher your question, and then they they could respond to you, if not then, at a later time. So, I think that's another way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else want to add, or should I go to the next meeting? Okay. Second and last scenario. Someone, and these could actually be real life situations. Someone is sending you inappropriate pictures or text messages that you don't want to receive. How should you effectively communicate that?
I feel like you should be clear, direct, and very like to the point with them, and just express how you feel directly. I no longer want to receive these pictures or text messages from you. And if it comes to the point, you should maybe allude to the fact that maybe like there could be consequences or something for doing so. But I think if you're more so direct in your approach, then your point and your emotions will be properly expressed.
Would you text that person back, or are you saying you would confront them in person?
I feel you should confront them, text them back. I don't think there needs to be any confrontation in person, but I will just text them back and let them know if it comes to a certain point. Then, because obviously if you're still receiving them, then I'm sure if you don't text anything back, you may still receive them. So
I think you should perhaps maybe talk to that person, because I often sometimes get texts from people, and then sometimes when you text someone, you can get the wrong interpretation, because a text can be misinterpreted. So, you know, you may text something back to that person, and they may take it wrong, then you go in another direction. So I think that, especially if you've received a text and there's a problem, then I would probably go talk to that person. And that way, at least we won't have any miscommunication, hopefully, from that point. Or maybe we'll have better communication.
I agree, that's another angle
So do we all feel that those are all effective methods for communicating? Okay.
These are really good, Ms. Bowman.
Thank you. Okay, at this time, well, we're going to close soon. So if you guys could tell me, or go around, however you guys want to, tell us something you learned from the last few sessions.
Well, I learned that when you don't communicate effectively, like, for example, like, if you're, like, building a house, if like, you don't tell them, like, the roof is, like, made with wood instead of stone, and and you don't use nails, then it might collapse. Like,
Excellent.
yeah.
So like crucial points have to be
Yeah.
details. Excellent. Is that what you're saying? Excellent.
I also learned that that communication is like not just like communication is everything. Delivery is everything as far as really communication too. So even when you think maybe it's just a conversation, there needs to be like effective communication, or anything could be taken in almost in any direction if your statement isn't directly stated, and you're not being very specific, or everything like can be read in a different way. Your body language, your reaction, facial expressions, tone of voice. So everything needs to be in accordance with what you mean.
I remember from the last session, or what stuck out from the last session was when you had us, you had one person, well, the last group activity, where one person was verbalizing the instructions, and the other person had to write it down. I think the circle and square, and so that got me thinking that it's really important, or not that's really important, but because we're all different, everyone's a different person. So sometimes we think that people understand us. People just naturally understand what we're saying because it's coming out of our mouth. So we're thinking that they understand, but oftentimes they may just, since we're all different, they may get a whole different reaction to what we're saying. And so it's very important that the more clear your instructions are, the better effective that you can communicate. And then also too, I think, possibly, allowing another person or the person you're trying to communicate with, allowing them to give you some feedback, can give you some deeper insight to, your communication. So that was pretty effective last session.
Okay, well, that is great to know. Now I'm actually going to have you guys rate, well, you said that was effective, but I was going to have you guys rate the effectiveness of the sessions. You can either do thumbs up for good, thumbs down for not good, and to the side if it's okay. So you guys want to rate the sessions for thumbs up, 2 thumbs up?
Are we rating them session by session
Oh,
or just overall?
Just
Overall. Thumbs up?
Yeah.
Great. Great. Now, we're ending. I'm just going to do a quick summary. During the sessions, the first session, we talked about the importance of communication. The second session, we distinguished between effective and ineffective communication. And in this particular session, we went over or learned how to apply appropriate communication in the scenarios that we discussed, which you guys should be able to use, in your everyday life. So, you guys walk away from this group. We're still, able to still connect with each other. You have some tools you can use to help with effective communication. And if you want to set additional goals, I know your goals before, you guys had specific goals you were going to use it to be more effective with your communication skills. You can set your own goals and then see if they're effective or not. Would anyone like to share anything else about the group, or positive about the group overall or each other?
It's been a pleasure having you guys here to discuss your opinions and formulate more effective ways to communicate.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm gonna miss you guys.
Well, I'm sure we'll still be connected, but sounds great. And again, I think we all evolved as a group. There was progress, cohesion, like the group kind of became unified. And I hope this was informative and a learning experience for everyone. And you guys have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.